Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is the part 4 of the mother-in-law saga. This story is heartbreaking. Let me just say, like, this is not one of those stories I will just be hearing. This one, it will enrage you. Get ready to be enraged, to infuriate you. That's one of those stories. So you need to start from part 1. This is part 4. By now I should have uploaded part 1, 2, 3 the same day. So this should be on another day. So I've uploaded part 4, 5, and 6 today. Yeah, the day you're watching this. So go start from part 1. So
Part 4 of my Mother Gothel series. If you missed the first few parts, go back, because this is where things start to get even more complicated. Before I continue the story, I do want to pause and address some of the comments about Colton. A lot of you are asking what his reactions are and why it seems like he wasn't defending me. The answer is complicated. And honestly, at the time, I was asking the same things you guys are. Why aren't you defending me? Why does it seem like I'm the only one fighting for us? What I didn't understand at the time was how he was raised. Colton grew up in a house where peace meant survival. He was raised to comply. His mom had big emotions and his stepdad had a temper. So Colton learned that the safest thing to do was to keep everyone calm. He was taught that what he wanted didn't matter. When his mom was upset, he felt responsible for fixing it. When Max was angry, he stayed quiet. Not because he agreed, because that's how he avoided conflict. This was normal to him. So when I came into his life and started saying, no, that's not okay, it felt like rebellion. Not because he didn't love me, but because standing up to his mother meant going against everything he had been conditioned to do his entire life. And that kind of conditioning does not disappear overnight. It took years. Hard conversations, arguments, growth. There were definitely times that I don't even know how we made it through all of this. But eventually, he did start to see it. I mentioned this later. Over time, we both grew. Colton is no longer a people pleaser, and I am no longer willing to keep the peace at my expense, at my family's expense. But at this point in the story, Colton is still trying to keep the peace. So yes, Colton did defend me, but it looked more like this. He would let his mother run her mouth, and then we would discuss it and argue about it later. Because no matter what he said, she wasn't going to listen anyway. She still doesn't. Wait till I get to the stuff that's more recent. So now that you understand Colton a little bit more.
wow. When you say stuff there is more recent, that means the woman is still, hey, over 15 years she has not given up. But women like that, they don't know how to give up.
Let's get back to our story. We left off with finding out that I was pregnant for the second time. The first pregnancy was a miscarriage. We called him our Dot, and I heard a quote back then that I have never forgotten. No footprint is too small to leave an imprint in this world. We hoped things were finally going to calm down. We were wrong. We kept the pregnancy to ourselves till I was about 3 months along. We went over to Penny's house one of many times. We told her we were pregnant. She didn't outright cry, but she definitely teared up, and not in a happy way. There was no joy, no warmth, no love.
Yeah.
Looking back,
That is her realizing that all her effort all this while has come to naught. For this girl to be pregnant, it will be harder for her to take her away from the family. So she's here to stay. That's why she was
now, I think that's because I was no longer temporary. Even if Colton and I did break up, I would always be the mother of her first grandchild. I was always trying to make things better, though. I was 23 or so, and you want that acceptance. So I filled her in on everything. I kept her updated. I tried to include her. Sometimes she would make comments about having another baby herself while I was pregnant. So there's that. I know there were other comments. I just can't remember them. I was just trying to be happy. And I know I don't mention my family much. My mom and my sisters and I are very close. I also have an older brother and lots of nephews that I adore. We argue like typical families, and then we get over it. My family was the opposite of her. Loud, loving, and they adore Colton. They've loved him from day one. And they were ecstatic that I was pregnant. At the gender reveal appointment, I allowed Penny to come. My mom was also there. Penny had 2 boys, but she had always wanted a girl. She actually thought Colton was a girl and bought him all girl things, only to be disappointed that he was indeed a boy. So when the ultrasound tech said, "It's a girl," she screamed. She jumped up and down. She made a scene. And in that moment, something that should have belonged to Colton and me didn't. I didn't say anything. And after that, she decided she was going to be happy about the baby girl. We had decided together that the baby would call her Nani. Nani is Italian for grandmother, and she's Italian, and we wanted her to feel special. Colton and I, of course, talked about names. For her middle name, we chose Jean. That's my middle name and my grandmother's middle name, my grandmother's actual name, and it is Colton's grandmother's name also on his dad's side. So we felt very connected to Jean.
Wow.
But during my pregnancy, Penny kept pushing for Rose, which is her middle name. She would bring it up repeatedly. You should make it Rose. It would mean so much to me. It has to be Rose. Neither Colton or I wanted Rose. And for personal reasons, unrelated to her, I cannot have Rose as a middle name. I don't like roses. So, we decided, and Colton told her, it's our child. So towards the end of my pregnancy, we went to a quiet wooded park to take some maternity photos. And in the middle of all the chaos, he got down on one knee and he chose me, and I chose him.
Thank God. Now, I like this. Congratulations. I like this. Yes.
When we told her we were engaged, that was not something she was thrilled about either. There wasn't much of a reaction. No excitement, no congratulations. And when we started planning the wedding, she did not involve herself. She didn't offer to help. She didn't ask details. She just didn't care. She did show up when I was dress shopping, though, although it was also for her mother of the groom dress. My mom and sisters were there, too. And to the appointment, Penny wore all white, head to toe. I don't know if it was intentional, and it was not the actual wedding. It was just shopping for the dress. I also wore all white because it was my wedding. Again, it's just something I noticed. I didn't say anything. I came from a small country town, and that's where the wooded park was, so I wanted my baby's overall theme to be little pink woodland animals, pink foxes, pink deer, little bears. It was simple. It was sweet. She wanted princess. I said no. It was really one of the first times I was really very firm with her. This was my first baby. Mm-hmm. So when she arrived at the baby shower, head to toe in black, carrying a giant bouquet of princess balloons. Princess gift bags, princess clothes, princess toys. Another moment that was not allowed to be mine. A moment that was supposed to be about my baby and what I wanted as her mother did not happen. And that's when I learned that boundaries were not something she acknowledged. And again, I did not say anything. I didn't argue. I just noticed. My pregnancy was not easy, and toward the end, I was considered high risk. I had to take insulin. I was constantly being monitored at the doctors. And around 36 weeks, I started showing mild signs of preeclampsia. So the doctors, they don't take chances with that. They're like, it's time. You're going to be induced. They tried to induce me 3 times. And if you have ever been induced, you know that it's very painful. It's very invasive. And it wasn't working. I was not dilating. So the doctors came in and gave us a choice. So we chose to continue with the induction again or a C-section. So we chose the C-section. My mom was there, my grandmother, my little sister, and Penny. So while I was in surgery delivering my daughter, Penny was in the waiting room telling my mother that Colton and I barely knew each other. She mentioned how quickly we moved in together, which was, we started staying at his dad's at like 2 months and then got our own apartment at 4 months. We're in our 20s. It's normal. She mentioned how fast I got pregnant, and at this point we had been together 2.5, maybe almost 3 years. She went on about how close her and Colton are, and that a bond between a mother and son can never be broken. And I didn't hear about that later, because I was delivering a baby. So then my daughter was here safe and sound. I allowed Penny to come in. She held her. She took pictures with her. She was a part of every moment. Even after everything, I included her. I did not shut her out. I made room for her. And at the end of the day, it was no longer about me. It was about my daughter. The next few months were a blur. I was learning how to breastfeed. We weren't sleeping, of course. I was healing from major surgery. Penny came over whenever she liked it. One day, her and Kieran showed up while I was breastfeeding. She would also make comments about how much my daughter looked like her in front of me while I was standing right there. And I kept allowing her to come over whenever she wanted because I thought maybe access would create peace. Something else she does is she never uses my daughter's name to this day. She will text me and say, how's my grandchild? She will call her my baby, my princess. And I don't say anything about it because I know she's trying to get under my skin, and she's my daughter. She's mine. So I never say anything about it. But 15 years, she won't use her name. So we had a baby. We were planning a wedding. And you'd think after the baby, things would calm down. They didn't. In fact, there was a fight that almost cost us our whole wedding.
things are happening. And I'm just so happy that she and Cotton, they share a very strong bond. Like, they genuinely love each other. This is why it's important to love people, because the amount of love, or if when you guys genuinely love each other, it will help you to surmount obstacles, no matter where it might be coming from. This is just so painful. Huh. Can only imagine what life must have been for her all these 15 years. Because she is the one that went through it, that is still going through it. Someone said, why aren't you guys no contact right now? Like, you don't understand what manipulative mothers does to their children. It will be hard for children like that to go no contact with a mother like that. It's gonna be hard. It's going to be hard. Someone say you're so much nicer than I would be. But I understand you were young, regardless. I'm impressed and waiting for. Yeah, she was very young. Someone said, no, I'm so invested. I need the next part. Also, what's Penny's address? Like, guys, I'll see you in the next part.